Tailorians, greetings and welcome to our podcast session on What's Up Conversations on EQ. I am Michelle Francis, a life skill facilitator, and with me today we have our very interesting guest, Mr. Izzat, who is joining us for this session on the topic on growth mindset. Now, a little bit about Izzat. Just give a brief introduction on you. He is a former barista, a mechanic, and analyst, and he is now known as the CEO of a life science startup that focuses on the blue economy and renewable energy sectors. Welcome, Izzat. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, Michelle. Thank you.
Right, that's great. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I think you pretty much you gave it all away already, but
Okay.
I'll just add bits and pieces of a few other info.
Sure.
What do you call? I'm a dreamer. I'm a thinker, doer, and I was recently employed as an analyst.
Right.
Post my first entrepreneurship startup when I was in the States after I graduated in my degree. So after running it for 7 years, we had like three income streams for that business. I started off as a college startup. We had to write a business plan, and I pursued it. So I never had an inkling that it would last that long. But I sold it to my partner at that time, who took over, and I moved back to Malaysia. Coincidentally, I moved back right before COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
Blessing in disguise, probably.
Yeah.
So, managed to sell the business, get some income out of it, move back here to be close to the family because I was away about 10 years. And I was trying to rebuild my contacts and getting to know, a lot of people. So I helped out a few startups. One thing led to another. I was employed to join corporate. Crazy, right? Because from barista, mechanic, and then all of a sudden I joined corporate as a business analyst. More like a private equity fund unit for a public listed company.
Okay.
But more info about that as we progress. I guess I don't want to bore bore people with too much info at this point. And after I had my stint there for about 2.5 years, getting a good some exposure in entrepreneurship, corporate. Now I'm ready to jump ship again and pursue. I am pursuing it right now, a life sciences company with a focus on blue economy, which is something that is really intriguing, really exciting for me. So yeah, we'll delve deeper about that in a bit. And renewable energy as well. Two sectors that is heavily promoted by our government at this point in time.
Right.
So which is why I decided to pursue it.
That's great. I'm really interested about knowing on the blue economy. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you do regarding it?
Sure. So the blue economy, in my opinion, and this is actually what is described by the World Bank as well. If you Google it, leveraging on the natural resources of the ocean, which is about 70% of the planet,
right?
And conserving it, preserving it, utilizing what can be used, and helping coastal communities at the same time. So a lot of the organisms, a lot of the aquaculture that people tend to overlook because of the focus on agriculture. I feel like aquaculture is another sector that has so much potential. I don't know where to even begin. And how I got involved, because when I was in corporate, our unit was just taking care of technology-based companies, like startups, e-commerce, fintech, telco, you name it, and government contracts. So, if you visit our website right now, kayuhindustries.com, Um, pretty a big fan of the names, and that's why I used it. But this what we're pursuing right now is actually the cultivation, the harvesting, and also the processing of um, underwater plants, or commonly known as macroalgae
Oh, wow.
seaweed.
Okay.
So the reason I got really interested in this sector is because as I was, assisting other people with their dreams and what they want to pursue for their business, KPIs and whatnot, I realized that I want to get into a business. I want to have my own company that is capable of getting into several other sectors, not just one. So that I don't want to be limited. So when I was doing some studying, researching, I realized that from upstream all the way down to the downstream, the type of products that can be developed and processed supersedes one industry.
Okay.
Anything from food, from pharmaceutical, cosmetics, fertilizer, renewable energy, that sort of thing. Because a lot of these things we don't really get to explore it while we were in school, because there's so much to learn. But at the same time, you tend to gravitate towards these sort of things throughout life when you decide to learn more about it. So we're pursuing it right now. We've made some progress. We are dealing with government, local agencies, private companies. That's why on our website we emphasize a lot on public-private partnerships, PPP. Industry, academia, and government.
Yeah.
So just one more example real quick. So the thing about food is that a lot of issues now people tend to talk about, even researchers, students, they lack nutrition. They they have issues like stunted growth, anemia, lack of protein.
Right.
So when you study these things, like Malaysia at one point, our former minister Mazli Malde, former Prime Minister Mahathir, they always emphasize on giving good nutrition to students at a young age so that they're able to develop. When they're in class, they're able to capture what is being presented to them, that sort of thing. That's why, Sri Lanka, I think about a month ago, they just approved a lot of free lunches for their students. They have this sort of program in Indonesia. The new president and vice president that spoke a lot about their manifesto regarding nutrition. So anyway, that's the long-winded answer, but I hope I didn't bore anyone.
Yeah, I think it's really great that you have shared all of this, because what I see is this is something long term, which people don't really pay attention to. Things like you mentioned, about nutrition and how important it is for the younger generation these days to actually pay attention to, and how it affects later on. But I would love to see how this progress with all the work that you have done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we also we deal a lot with coastal communities by helping a lot of these unfortunate or certain segments in the community that do not have access to nutritious food, healthy food, and we're also assisting them by introducing another source of income. But yeah, this is all. It will take time.
Okay.
Which is why in this day and age, a lot of students, I can relate. People tend to diversify their source of income, like me. When I was a mechanic, barista, and then I transitioned to a corporate guy, always in front of the computer, wearing suit and tie for meetings. So I realized that now I've transitioned into a farmer, because we have our own hatchery now.
Right.
We target about 5 species of seaweed that is natural and natural biodiversity in Malaysia, which is not really pursued in Semenanjung in Peninsula, because a lot of the policies that we've studied, myself and my team, what the government has always been pushing is they emphasize that it can only be developed in Sabah, Borneo.
Right.
But when we did our proof of concept hatchery, it can be done in Peninsula. So these are the type of things that we decided to pursue, and why we regarded ourselves as a life sciences company, because there's some essence of biotechnology in there. Biotech. Biotech is a subset of life sciences, if I'm not mistaken. So it's technology related. It's something that can positively impact um, all walks of life. Not just human beings, but also other organisms. Like the aqua feed, the fertilizers. That's why I'm really passionate about what I'm doing right now, and I'm not too concerned about not being able to what do you call that? Have something that can have an immediate return, because I have other um, activities that I do that is able to help with a source of income.
Right.
Yeah, which ties back with the growth mindset agenda that I was called in to share about.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I really enjoyed listening to what you do, and
Thanks.
it's really interesting to know how passionate you are, because you have got so much passion that you foresee so much more potential that's yet to come. So
Definitely.
I really wish you all the best. I know I shouldn't be doing this at the start of the session, but
All good, Michelle.
It's great.
Thanks.
With let's dive into the topic itself, which is growth mindset. And from all the transitions in your life, you were a mechanic, you were a barista before that, and for now, where you've came now, how has growth mindset made an impact in your life? Because the transition is not easy, right? It must have been challenging for you. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So the reason why I decided to come in, first off, disclaimer, many will probably argue that, like, who is this person? Like, has he, he's no Nobel Prize winner, or I've never heard of him before, but it's cool. It's fine, because everyone has their own take on success.
Yeah.
So regarding the growth mindset that you just mentioned, the reason why at this point in my life, I've transitioned from different professions along the way, but it also opened a lot of doors in terms of how I think, how I process certain things, how I view others, and also how I'm able to navigate life. So, for instance, I'm just gonna give you, like my there's several phases in my life, but with everyone else, I bet they can relate to. So when I was transitioning, it was tough, but at the same time, every single time that I pursued a new thing, I felt more and more interested in exploring and understanding. Okay, how does this work? And then try to relate back with my past experiences. Like a lot of the mentors I've met, which is kind of weird because a lot of the mentors, usually they're a lot older, more wisdom, right?
Okay.
But my circle of friends are a lot older than me. Typically, I've often been called old soul.
Really?
I guess I don't know. I mean, somehow I kind of feel like I jive better with people that have been through a lot more, or maybe there's something about when I meet some strangers, they tend to open up, and kind of like back and forth. But yeah, like the more doors you open, some might hit you in the face, or you just feel like, okay, this is not the door that I should continue going down, on this path. So you kind of just like figure out, decide to switch it up and find what ticks for you, what keeps you going. So even, like let's say the analyst, when I was an analyst before that, guess what? When I came back and I was talking to a few people, some friends that I lost touch with, and they're already like high up in the corporate ladder, so to speak. So when I asked, hey, like, I don't know, you think I should join corporate, with my background? And they're like, not all of them, but maybe one. I'll still remember to this day.
Right.
So he's part of HR. No offense to the guy, maybe he was being honest, and because he was like, I don't know, man. Like the past past 7 to 10 years, you were like a mechanic. Like I wouldn't hire you because you probably wouldn't fit in. And then all of a sudden, I was part of a startup.
Okay.
I joined. And this was after what that person told me, but I was cool about it. I was like, yeah, it's fine. A little hurt,
Yeah,
Bruce,
sure.
Bruce ego a bit, but I kind of just don't let that affect me. Thick skin, I guess, because when I was running my own company in the States, I was by myself a lot,
Right.
and I had a lot of diverse group of friends. So anyway, I joined a startup. It didn't go so well because they were invested by this big PLC company that I eventually joined. So that didn't go so well because there were some hanky panky in there. So I was the first to leave the startup.
Oh.
But my eventual boss, he reached out one day and said, "Hey, you want to grab coffee with me?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, sure." So we met for coffee. I think it was like twice, 3 times. And he will just invite me and we'll just talk about random stuff,
Okay.
not realizing that it's an interview. Because I think he was trying to gauge. No, I think he was trying to gauge what kind of person I am, how I think. But before that, we had some interactions when I was part of the startup.
Actually.
Because I guess I was a type that I was vocal and I would just speak my mind. So yeah, that's how I landed the job.
Having to have someone to tell you in the face, like, I wouldn't hire you based on how they see you and perceive you, and then yet you had to decide that.
Yeah.
I think that itself shows how a person actually comes out from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. But I hope it would have worked for your friend as well, the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. Maybe it's because in retrospect, if you look at like what I've been through, and everyone else that has achieved a lot in life, good job, keep going. Everyone has different experiences, Doesn't mean that if you're like a lot older, then you have a lot more experience than someone who's half your age.
Yeah.
I'll give you another story because when I was running my own company, and this relates to growth mindset, I hired this one kid at that time, and I don't mean that in a demeaning sense. So he high school dropout, about 15 when I met him. This was in the States. High IQ despite dropping out of school. You know why he dropped out? People make mistakes, or even they have different journeys. So he had a girlfriend. He came from a broken home, so he had a girlfriend, baby mama. Over there they call it baby mama. Like you have a baby with your girlfriend.
Right.
At that age, 15.
Okay.
And I hired him because I felt like he came from a troubled background. No one really gave him a shot.
Right.
And at that time, coincidentally, I needed a mechanic. I needed help because it was a busy season. It was summer.
Okay.
So I told him, okay, tell you what, come in for a few days. I'll pay you for your time, because I knew he was recommended actually by a regular customer who was a college student.
Right. Okay.
So he was, hey, my buddy, he's looking for a job, and he fixed bikes in his basement, which reminded me of what I went through. I bought some bikes off of Craigslist. I don't know if they have it in Malaysia.
Okay.
And then I would fix it in our college off-campus housing, and then I would post it online or on Facebook, and and then people would buy it. But yeah, fast forward, he actually came in. I could tell that he really wanted the job because everyone else didn't really give him a chance. So I hired him. Turned out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made at that time. And he is actually the person who bought over the company with his mom. I think they what do you call when they mortgage the house, and they actually bought the business. It was already an established business. We had income from custom fabrication for bicycles, EV bikes included. At that time, it was really popular. Even now, I think. our cafe business and e-commerce, because a lot of how they run businesses there, especially in the bicycling, it's they practice JIT, just in time.
Okay.
Meaning they have warehouses in certain states, and because we were in PA, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, you order today before 5 p.m., they'll be in tomorrow by UPS during the day.
Oh, that's really fast.
Yeah, so these sort of things. So the point of what I'm trying to get at is, I look at this kid and I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, how do I make this work with this business, these three businesses, and they gotta hire different employees for different sections, because everything's partitioned off. Um, and he's in a few months in, he had another baby. His first kid's name's Leo, the second's Reina.
Okay.
So, but and then he's broken home, like constant struggles to deal with family. So, long story short, I think you can learn a lot from all kinds of people. It doesn't necessarily mean that they need to be older, or they're like successful. Sometimes, weirdly enough, I look at people that I wouldn't want to say fail, but they attempted things and it didn't go according to plan.
Right.
And I feel like I can learn a lot from that, because there's a quote, if you want to like try and achieve certain things or go somewhere, learn it from those who has been there, have been there.
Wow, that's a really
Sort of.
great
Yeah.
quote, I think, and it's very relatable to the
Thanks.
story itself. It's like what a nice closure. But yeah, I completely agree that sometimes it's important for us to have a broader perspective on people, and that allows us to grow in ways that you don't expect usually, as compared to going in or looking at someone with a fixed mindset instead. Yeah, that's great. I hope all these stories will add value to our listeners. We move on to the next question from all the items that we have spoken about. Was there any challenging phase in your life that you faced where you had a fixed mindset on something and you noticed that you need to change your mindset in order to get out of this? Is there an incident or an experience you would want to share that this happened to you in your life?
Similar to what I was mentioning earlier. Believe it or not, I feel like typically my own experiences. Okay, no offense to anyone that feels like it's a personal attack or anything. I feel like those who have been through a lot more in life, or they have not achieved, or they to what they typically consider failure, and those that do not have certain privileges like others, they always strive to prove that they're worthy. Happened so many times for me, and these kind of people tend to shock me, and to the point where I'm like, wow, like for instance, I have an issue, right? And I go to a person who has a doctoral degree or master's, and to them it's like, can't be done, like it's proven, or there's no research about this.
Right.
And somehow, some way, and I'm thinking to myself, can't be. Like, have you tried? Like I'm trying to just I'm asking so that there's closure, or there's like some sort of evidence. And that's when I get them. Like, just because there's no evidence or there's no test doesn't mean it can't be done. As opposed to some of these other people, they said, in comparison, when I asked them the same questions, but different setting, without the other more privileged individual, they'll be like, I don't know. We can try. We can figure it out. Not just, they're probably speaking another language, or like you can see the eagerness for them to like attempt something. So I hope that makes sense, and it answers your question about having a growth mindset. The ability, or the attentiveness to pursue something to the point where if we're successful, awesome, great. If it can be done, I mean, we either throw in a towel or try to like MacGyver it, try to see what else can be done, formulate, yeah.
Do you think it's challenging to stay motivated if you were to have a growth mindset? Like, you gotta keep telling yourself, what do you think is the drive or the motivating factor for you? Like,
I tend to, because of my worldly experience and the amount of things I've been through in life, I tend to look at the positive, like, looking at the glass half full type of thing, or is it half empty? I think half full. So, whatever that I do, because I know myself at this point in my life, I'm mid-30s. I've done quite a number of things, different industries. I've exceeded expectations, and I've disappointed numerous people as well, with valid reason. Those that try to be funny or whatever. Because I've reached a point where I don't really. I'll stand up for something when I feel like it's not done right, or it's you know it, it's it's supposed to be done in a better way, that sort of thing. But and whenever I pursue something that I'm really passionate about, even if I know that there's a chance of failure, I take great pride in pursuing it. And the more milestones I get, or the more progress, it's like playing a video game. And then when the player gets like the health bar, it gets something, and the health bar keeps increasing. To me, that's my motivation scale.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? So it's like playing a video game. So that's how I keep myself motivated. And then just be kind. I don't mind being alone. I'm usually like always on my own these days, because I feel like I'm more at peace.
I really like how you relate the video game example to this whole thing.
Avid gamer.
Yeah,
before.
the motivation of the bar increases. You go like, yeah, you actually
Yeah.
did something and worked.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, that's great. With this whole concept about growth mindset, which most people usually find it quite challenging to achieve, because it's very common for people to have a fixed mindset, and then for them to come out of it, that's the challenge that they usually have. I know I shouldn't be stereotyping this, but what would be one advice you would give, especially to the younger generations, on coming out of their comfort zone and looking at the other side, or in other words, walking towards growth mindset?
Michelle, you're putting me on the spot again. Great question, by the way.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, good job. So, tell you what,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the camera right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whoever's watching, whatever you decide to pursue, and if you feel like you have the capacity, the ability to instill change and bring about positive impact to the people, the penduduk setempat, in Malay, that's like the people around you, regardless of gender, origin. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Even beyond our borders. Those kind of things, whatever uplifts you, just do it. Because I've heard and I've seen and I've read about it. A lot of people say that they tend to procrastinate, or they just feel like, oh, I can't be done and whatnot, that sort of thing. But you never know. I don't even have a background in biotech or like what life sciences. Heck, in high school, I took English lit and economics.
Right.
Typical business. I mean, no offense to business majors, but now I'm looking into like marine biology. I'm learning about like all these like chemicals and how mangrove areas in coastal areas.
Yeah.
Those fun fact, did you know that they play a role in food security?
No. How?
Oh, okay. Sure.
This is interesting.
So okay. So, mangrove areas, even I think last week, 2 weeks ago, China released a white paper regarding the importance of blue economy. But anyway, even in that white paper, they mentioned about mangroves. So mangroves In Malay, it's called paya bakar.
Okay.
So, to give you visuals, if you go to like coastal cities, like let's say Perak or Melaka or even Selangor, so if you go to an area where there's like some roots or some trees out, like somewhere in the beach area, that's an indication that, to the best of my knowledge, that area or that soil, it's really what's subo in
Fertile.
English? Fertile.
Sure.
Thank you. It's really fertile,
Oh,
and a lot of organisms are
if
there.
you can see the roots.
I mean, ideally, like you'll need to be do some tests or like get some
Okay.
specimen and whatnot. But
Right.
typically, it's conducive, even though it's brackish water. It's like not clear.
Okay.
So reason being, those who have been to Sabah, aside from tourism, they're also one of their biggest industries is seafood, right? So in addition to that, seaweed, macroalgae, what we're pursuing, it's one of the most what do you call that, pursued industry, because they get it, they cultivate it, they harvest it out in the ocean, they sell it to traders or they sell it to OEM companies, they manufacture, process it, they redistribute or they export out, right? So similar thing can be done in Peninsula.
Okay.
The only difference is different species. So in the family species of seaweed, there's three, right? Red, green, and brown.
Right.
So the one in Sabah is red.
Okay.
Okay, let's just hold that thought, red. But get this, within each of these families, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other brothers and sisters that fall under the same category. In Peninsula, there's another brother or sister of the other species that can be cultivated in clear waters, but this time it can be cultivated using brackish water.
Wow.
But you obviously our perspective is we're not the type of farmers that just get whatever that's available in the wild and just sell it. Just like waiting around. Every 45 days, it takes 45 days for it to like from seed to harvest.
Okay.
Waiting around, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, hey, let's try and fish. But the way we do things, which distinguishes ourselves, is that we focus on biotech apparatus, equipment. We look at the water quality. We send it for studying. We look at the pH. We look at what else? We look at temperature. We look at the organisms that can be built around that seaweed, so that it's an ecosystem. So, in other words, Michelle, what we're trying to develop is a integrated aquaculture ecosystem. Because if we have that, imagine how, because it's a plant, right? It's photosynthesis, like any like plants in agriculture.
Right.
Takes the sun, releases oxygen, whatever. So we have that, we cultivate it, we propagate it, and then at the same time we have fish, shrimp, turtles, perhaps crabs. And guess what? In our hatchery, POC, proof of concept facility right now, we've done it in small scale. Now we're doing some capital calls initiatives to get some assistance from government and private private companies, institutions, academia. Hint, hint, Taylor's Culinary, to help us.
Wow.
To address food security, to address any other issues.
Okay.
And hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Sounds really interesting. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm very enlightened about seeing the concept of mangrove and what you just explained.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware about.
That's just one isolated factor. Because sometimes the way you think, because you growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
Trying to relate it back to that, I don't want to like digress, because to me, what growth mindset also means is you are able to decipher and think, fine, it's a for-profit business, right? But what else are you really trying to target? You're trying to develop industries, you're trying to develop jobs, you're trying to develop nutrition, you're trying to help your people, your countrymen and women. you're trying to export so that it's able to foster an economy that a lot of people that can be a part of, and hopefully in a later stage, we can address a lot of other issues, like climate change. So if you're already thinking like that, you feel like your mindset is a level above most in terms of success. Because like I said earlier, right, your definition of success, well, I mean, sorry, not you, but most people think it's wealth. But we have a lot of wealthy people that, that separated from their families and whatnot. But,
Yeah.
if you're just chill, you're low profile, you're always being kind to others and just, just doing what you love, you feel like you've achieved certain things in life already.
I think it's the fulfillment that you get.
Great word, yeah, definitely.
That's great. I really enjoy listening to your stories about, your personal experiences on growth mindset and how it relates so well. Like it's amazing with all the things you've gone through since
No big deal.
days, right? It's how
No big deal.
that's how it kind of started until now. I mean, the entire journey is. Yeah. So with that, we will move on to our next interesting segment, which is the rapid fire.
Oh, really? I thought we were done already. No, I'm just kidding.
Almost.
Sure, fire away.
The rapid fire session, I will be giving out a few questions. Just say whatever that comes up to your head first. First answers are usually known as the best answers, right? Well,
wait, how quick do I have to answer though?
No pressure.
Oh, okay, okay.
Just take your time. That's okay.
Cool.
So the first one will be, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Definitely the former. I gotta get, an early bird catches the worm. Okay, yeah.
Okay, right. One skill everyone should master. What do you think that would be? Does it have to be growth mindset?
Good one. That, and another one would be integrity, among others. Because I feel like, for instance, the way I think, right? Sometimes, people, if I can explain further, I can expand.
Yeah, sure.
Let's say you apply for a job, you get the job. This is your responsibility, your expectations. Let's say if you're in government, you have to serve the people. If you're in private, your KPI is profit. If you're NGO, your KPI is helping certain segments that are unfortunate. So depends, integrity. What I mean by that is these are all your expectations. Do it. Take pride, and come to work early, or just if you're expected to be there at 8, be there at 7:50, 7:45, or go above and beyond. So when I answer, I try to use something that can be expanded into several other things. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that would be very helpful. Integrity, something that I never thought about. But yeah, I think
what were you expecting?
Yeah.
What were you expecting, actually? I'm just curious. What would you answer?
Something along mindset as well. Like,
cool. Okay.
How would you define success if you were to do it in a word?
Relationships.
Okay.
You want me to expand again?
Yeah. What relationships? Or how?
Okay, you want to know how I got into this industry?
Yeah.
Towards the end of my foray into corporate, I was preparing my departure. So I was making calls, I was researching, because that's what I had to do. My expectation was business analysis, so I had to study about industries and meet experts in the field, see trends. So long story short, I was already intrigued by food security at that time, because it was COVID and a lot of issues about not getting access to nutrition, makanan seimbang, that sort of thing, whatever. And then issues by the ministry saying we need to plant more rice, we can't import, we can't do this. So, a lot of these issues. So I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong? What else can we do? Do you get what I mean? I think of KSB as a company, we've approached at least close to 10, if not more, research universities within Malaysia.
Oh,
Outside of Malaysia, I think it's about 2 already.
right.
Why? You know why? About nutrition, about food science, about uh, macroalgae. What can we do with it?
Yeah.
Expanding networks, and believe it or not, there were some unanswered emails or like people that didn't really take us seriously. We're not like Petronas or like a huge company, which is fine. I get it. If we're like Sandawi Plantation, they'll probably reply back to you like ASAP. But it's cool. Usually you need to startups, especially you need to really prove yourself, which we are. Trust me when I tell you this. I'm not overconfident, but when you know your true capabilities and you have a good, um, you try to have a good mindset and objectives, you'll get there someday. But anyway, what I was trying to get at is the amount of people we've met. Little did I know that eventually they'll be the ones that reach out and say, "Hey, you remember me? Remember we met this and this time and this time? Guess what? There's an opportunity." And one thing led to another, and now we've been working with academia, several like research grants, and we're assisting them as industry player, and we're getting, God willing, within the next few months we'll have our own processing facility. I don't want to give it too much away because it's always best to keep it low key.
Yeah.
Because if you keep saying all these great things, even social media, I'm not active. I don't post anything since I got back in 2019. So I kind of like to keep it mum for a bit until I feel like this is the time when we have to promote the business.
That's great. Wow. Relationship, something that is important as well, and how it eventually lead to success in your life.
Yeah, kind of how I got here. KSB got here.
Yeah, exactly. True relationship as well.
Right.
What's the one best advice you have received so far in your life? And you would want to share it with us.
There's a lot. I
pick the best.
That
the first one.
Okay, tell you what. This one relates to the main topic. How about that? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is kind of funny actually because when I was in the States, I was really into American sitcoms, but now I'm like into British. I think British is a lot funnier now and sarcasm or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Okay.
So in a way that, to me at least, it ties in with growth. So if you're always like keeping yourself at this level, this bar, which is fine, it works for some people. Wait, whatever floats your boat. If you feel like you reach your capacity, you don't want to, you're okay with where you are at, hey, it's fine. Or you want to take shots, even if you miss, it might not be far off from where you really want to, from where you initially aimed. So it's actually a quote by one hockey player, and then the reference to the sitcom is because Michael Scott, at The Office.
Yeah.
So he was trying to, like, I think they had like some sort of ice breaking session with all the employees, and then he was like giving an advice, and he said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and then he writes his name, but it's actually a quote from someone else. Do you get me? And then everyone's like, okay.
That's a good one. It's a good advice. It's a reminder to not miss all the opportunities that you have, or you never know what it's going to turn out to be like. Yeah.
I might not pursue this blue economy if had I not studied or met all those people. I'll probably still be doing corporate life. No offense to those that enjoy. Hey, good for you. But for me, I realize that I like to get my hands dirty. I like to, roll up my long sleeve shirt, wear boots, travel for work, that sort of thing.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And what is your favorite activity to recharge yourself?
Right now, uh, well, I've been away for a while, so when I came back, a lot of catching up with former friends,
Mm,
rebuilding my contacts,
right.
spending time with family. So started to spend time more with my dad, trying to understand
Mm,
um among other things. So I spent time with my dad. We actually did an activity together. We went up the mountain,
oh,
KK.
that's
We
nice.
reached the peak together.
Wow.
So he's probably like a little over twice my age. So and now I like to do activities that really it's not just about mental but physical too.
Right.
Because it really, like this morning I just woke up and I mean it's not like I just do it out of the blue, but I try to have a regime,
Mm-hmm.
regime, right?
Yeah. What do you do?
Just jog, trying to get back into like rock climbing.
Oh,
Even though I had a minor injury here years ago when I was cycling.
okay.
Eventually I want to get my scuba license because I'm blue economy and like
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah. And something that's essential.
Yeah.
Are you working on it already or
Which one?
the license?
And before the end of the year, hopefully.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's great.
Yeah, because the farm, our hatchery is actually next to the sea.
Mm.
So like having the waves just like hit against the edge. Oh man, that sound, it's so calming, it's so serene,
Mm.
as opposed to like the honks in the city. Because I was with corporate, right? So I would take I would park my car somewhere, then take the MRT.
Mm.
I don't know, but I think even though I'm a KL boy, I realized that maybe I'm destined for like a different environment at this point in my life, and I'm cool with that.
Mm.
Because if you're out in like the kampong area, uh, awesome people, hospitality,
Mm.
which is weird because in the city, when you say hi to people and whatnot, it's like they like they'll clutch their purse or whatever. It's like, why is he talking to me? No, I mean not all the time. But in the kampong, in the village, like people like, hey, how are you? Like the people know each other, kind of like the environment that I had with my former business in the States. Like it's you're building community.
Mm.
For most people, not all of them, some of them they just like to be left alone.
It ties back again to the point you mentioned about building relationships, right? Right.
Yeah, and then
I think it all makes sense.
going outside of your comfort zone and meeting people of different walks of life.
Yeah. And how you actually found what works for you. You were in a more of a city environment and then you figured out that no, this is not for you and you're probably better off in a different environment. So yeah, I think that's great. That's really great. And having the ability to actually figure that out itself speaks about growth mindset eventually.
I hope so.
Because it's like you kind of get out of that mindset and you're not just, no, I know, I just got to do this. I studied for this. Sometimes the transition also helps us to grow at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Totally.
Very inspiring. Right. So one last rapid fire question.
Yikes.
One quick tip to handle stress.
Quick tip. Interesting.
Yeah, with all this transition and things and lifestyle that's really hectic, what would be that one quick tip that comes up to you all?
Well, guess what, Michelle? We're gonna have a quick switcheroo. How about you? You answer first.
Oh my gosh. Sure. I would want to unwind first and just stay away from mainly devices. Yeah.
Very cool.
I enjoy being in the nature, so I think that helps. A quick tip to probably just put away my phone and whatever gadgets and just walk somewhere or just sit in a park. Yeah.
Wow.
That helps.
Totally relatable. I'm totally agree.
Mm.
I like that, and something in common. For me, I think you answered it perfectly, but I think I would also add always be open to new experiences, which somewhat ties in with yours, right?
Yes.
You know, like let's say you go to a park, you can switch it up, go to a new park, or even experiences there. You meet people,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so
that's great. I think the way people handle stress is very different. Like for all of us, we've got our own ways of
yeah,
handling it, but to be able to know how to handle it is essential,
totally.
I believe.
To all our viewers out there, you know, if vaping is the way to go, then by all means. I don't know how that even
Yeah,
works for me. I've never, yeah, not really into that. Not
yeah.
into
Not a healthy option, but yeah, if it works, then
whatever
individual
floats your boat.
preference. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Right. With that, we have successfully come to the end of our podcast
Oh
session.
no, really?
Any final thoughts from you,
uh,
Izzat, to our viewers for today?
live life to the fullest, and you know, um, spend time with people that that give off good vibes and return the favor.
Mm.
Be kind and know when to spot talents and um, be patient.
Mm.
Because I think at this, when in retrospect, I realized certain things. You know, as you grow older, you tend to react a lot to like criticisms or feedback.
Mm.
But in a way, it's not what I mean by this is these students or like whoever, you know, in a younger age or even older, you see a lot of like videos being captured, recorded, and even older people also just went ballistic.
Mm.
But if you're able to be patient and just either walk away or try to like calm things down, you feel much more powerful. And you know, if you get criticisms, you know, um, see how the feedback
Mm.
is being transferred over to you. For instance, if you have a boss and he sits you down and he doesn't embarrass you in front of people, he pulls you aside, he or she, and he'll say, "Look, you've been doing a great job, but what just happened in there, I don't want it to happen again." Or,
Mm.
you know, you could have done better. You know, like
Mm.
as opposed to like, what the hell are you doing? What are you thinking? In English, BM or BI, Chinese, Indian.
Mm.
I've been fortunate enough to work in different settings, different uh, what do you call types of bosses, ethnic
Mm.
groups, you know, in US or even here.
Mm.
Do you get me?
Mm.
So you kind of, like I said, growth mindset. You know, you don't want to just stick to a particular like setting.
Mm.
Try to get out of your comfort zone.
Great. That's
Yeah,
great. Thank you so much for all the inspiring stories and
you're welcome.
all the personal experiences that you have shared, because I definitely think that they are all great added value stories to our viewers, especially the younger generations, the,
The young leaders of tomorrow.
the Gen Zs. So with that, we have come to the end of our session.
I thought we were just getting started now. Just
Oh,
kidding.
really?
Thanks,
We
Michelle.
can. We'll probably call you in for
Right?
another round.
Another take.
Session on.
You were great. You were good. I enjoyed it. It didn't feel like that long. You know,
Yeah.
we just hit it off.
Yeah. So I think
Cool.
it's great.
Cool.
Right. So, with that, to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. This is Michelle Francis signing off together with Izzat here for today. And we will catch you all in the next podcast session. Till that, stay curious and keep growing.
Yeah.
Bye.